Prince and Michael Jackson were constantly compared, and rumors of a rivalry between the two pop legends have long been reported. Since they both passed away, others in the music industry have shed light on their famed rivalry. Here's everything we know about Michael Jackson and Prince's relationship. By the mid-80s, after Purple Rain and Thriller were both released, the Purple One and the King of Pop were at the height of their careers. So it's kind of amazing to hear that they might have actually collaborated back then. If only they could have gotten along. When Michael Jackson was working on Bad, he and producer Quincy Jones invited Prince over to Jackson's house to talk about the two possibly duetting on the title track. However, judging from Jones's account, the vibe between the two superstars was rough from the start. Jones spilled the beans in a no-holds-barred interview with GQ, saying that Prince strangely taunted Jackson as soon as he arrived at his home. The famed producer said, "Prince came in and he had an overcoat on, and he had a big white box labeled Camille. He called Michael Camille." Then, as if it couldn't get any more awkward, it did. Jones continued, "The box had all kinds of stuff, some cufflinks with Tootsie Rolls on them. Michael was scared to death. He thought there was some voodoo in there."
That's stupid.
You're stupid.
Despite Jones's best attempts to make sure everyone was comfortable at the meeting, some of the small talk quickly became a big problem. According to Jones, Michael said, "I never been to Minneapolis." Prince said angrily, "It's Minneapolis." Then Jana went by, Prince said, "Relax your lips, girl," and it was not going well, that's for sure. Prince's ex-fiancée Susanna Melvoin, who is the twin sister of Wendy Melvoin, a former member of Prince's band, claims that Michael Jackson asked Prince to collaborate on Bad and sent him an early track, which Prince wasn't impressed with at all. Susanna Melvoin told Love City podcast host Torre in 2018, "When Michael did I'm Bad, he sent that track to Prince before he released it, and Michael wanted Prince to sing it with him. He couldn't believe Michael had the nerve to call it I'm Bad. He was like, there's nothing badass about him." While most artists would simply decline the invitation to collaborate, Prince decided to take things to the next level. He re-recorded the entire song and sent the new version back to Jackson, because he wanted to show him how it should be done. Not only did Prince totally reject the idea of singing on Bad, but he also turned down a big role in the music video. He would have played the part of a rough gang member, which eventually went to Wesley Snipes. In the late 90s, Prince sat down with comedian Chris Rock, and he had this to say about the potential role.
You know, that Wesley Snipes character, that would have been me. All right, now you run that video in your mind.
Yet, it wasn't really the idea of playing a gang member that bothered Prince. He went on to tell Rock, "The first line of that song is, 'Your butt is mine.' Now I said, who's gonna sing that to whom? Because you sure ain't singing it to me, and I sure ain't singing it to you. So right there, we got a problem." Despite Prince's complete disinterest in Bad, the role turned out to be the breakthrough performance for Snipes, who was still a couple years away from major parts in Mo Better Blues and New Jack City. In 2017, 30 years after the Bad video was released, he talked about the casting experience with Conan O'Brien, and Snipes remembered it a bit differently than Prince.
Yeah,
Have you ever heard that?
Me and Prince were auditioning together, and I blew Prince out of the water.
Snipes went on to say,
Michael had told Prince that he had the role, and then he met me.
Is that true?
This is a true story.
On one fateful night in 1983, James Brown performed at Los Angeles' Beverly Theater with both Prince and Michael Jackson in the audience. James Brown called Jackson onto the stage, who pretty much slayed the audience with his dance moves. Afterward, Jackson reportedly whispered to Brown to call Prince on the stage next. Quincy Jones probably summed it up best when he said, "Prince made a damn fool out of himself." Judging from later reports and surviving video of the event, Prince tried to swing onto a nearby lamppost as he left the stage. He didn't realize it was a prop and tumbled into the audience. But what really upset Prince was that Jackson acquired a recording of the whole performance, including the fall. Jones claimed that Prince was furious and told Michael he'd kill him if he showed the footage to anyone. He told GQ, "Prince waited in the limousine to try and run over Jackson and his sister LaToya and his mother." According to previously unreleased interview recordings for his 1988 autobiography Moonwalk, Jackson had some not-so-nice things to say about Prince. In the recordings obtained by The Mirror, we allegedly hear the voice of Jackson saying in reference to Prince, "He was so rude, one of the rudest people I have ever met. He has been very mean and nasty to my family." If these tapes are indeed real, then it sounds like Prince's potential limo attack after the James Brown concert didn't sit well at all with the gloved one. He also made direct reference to that night, saying, Prince made a fool of himself. He was a joke. People were running and screaming. I was so embarrassed. It was all on video. Finally, when it came to his supposed rivalry with Prince, Jackson apparently said, "I don't like to be compared to Prince at all. I have proven myself since I was real little. He feels like I'm his opponent. I hope he changes because boy, he's gonna get hurt."
Shimon!
More kicks.
Closer!
More
Closer!
kicks.
Close to your face!
You almost hit me there. You're really getting...
When Prince was asked to join a group of America's most talented artists to produce the single We Are the World for African famine relief, he refused, since it was co-written by Michael Jackson. Some speculated that it was because Prince had a beef with the king of pop. Lionel Richie, who co-wrote the song with Jackson, told talk show host Jimmy Kimmel that even though Prince said no, he kept trying to change his mind. Richie said,
I kept calling. I was not going to let it go. And I said, let me try one more time. Prince, we need you down here.
Prince then asked Richie for a separate room to record in. Unfortunately, Richie couldn't give him special treatment in a studio full of megastars, and Richie's response to his request didn't please the Purple One.
And then I made the worst mistake. I said, listen, I'll put you right next to Michael.
Oh, and he didn't want to be next to Michael?
Done.
On his song Hello, Prince sings, "I tried to tell them I didn't want to sing, but I'd gladly write a song instead." Fans speculate that he was referring to the We Are the World project, and here's the kicker. Prince did write a song called For the Tears in Your Eyes, which he donated to the cause, and which was included on the We Are the World album. will.i.am, who collaborated with both Prince and Michael Jackson, once told a story on The Graham Norton Show about the interesting encounter between the two legends. According to will.i.am, he got a phone call from Michael Jackson saying he wanted to get together, and the two agreed that Jackson would come to a Prince show that will.i.am was attending that night along with actor Chris Tucker. What happened next was both odd and hilarious.
To make a long story short, Prince steps off the stage and plays the bass in Michael Jackson's face.
The next morning, will.i.am and Jackson met up for breakfast and to talk about the show the night before. Jackson had a simple question about his close encounter with Prince.
First words he says, "Why was Prince playing the bass in my face?" No, Prince, he's always been a meanie.
We all know that Prince and Jackson were said to be competitive when it came to music, but word has it that they once competed privately over what should have been a friendly game. Apparently, at one point, the two stars happened to be working in the same Los Angeles studio, and Prince invited Jackson to play a game of ping pong, even though Jackson didn't know how. They played anyway, much to the apparent amusement of Prince. One of Prince's engineers who witnessed the smackdown described the bizarre scene to the Star Tribune. He said that Prince asked, "You want me to slam it?" Michael drops his paddle and holds up his hands in front of his face so the ball won't hit him. Michael walks out, and Prince starts strutting around like a rooster. Did you see that? He played like Helen Keller.
This bores me. Is anyone up for a game of basketball?
Prince's drummer Michael Bland also told the Star Tribune that the two superstars even went head-to-head in a game of basketball, but it seemed like they had a friendly relationship. He said, "They'd shoot hoops at Paisley Park. We used to get packages from Michael Jackson's production company with footage of Sly Stone performing in Europe. Prince would pop it in the VCR and we'd watch it." In his autobiography Sing to Me, famed music producer L.A. Reid described an incident where he went to visit Michael Jackson at his Neverland Ranch. After getting a tour of the grounds by the King of Pop, the two went into a screening room where he said Jackson showed him a recording from the James Brown concert, when Prince fell off the stage. Reid continued to say that Michael really enjoyed laughing at that part of the video. Reid then said Jackson brought out a second Prince video. Jackson was apparently having a good time at the Purple One's expense. Reid said, after that, he put on a scene from Prince's movie Under the Cherry Moon, the artsy black and white bomb he made after Purple Rain, and he laughed some more at Prince. Despite speculation, Prince denied there was any beef between him and Michael Jackson. Comedian Chris Rock asked Prince in 1997 which artist made him feel like he needed to get back in the studio and compete, opening the door for Prince to mention Jackson. And Prince seemed to squash those rumors. Prince said, "Contrary to what a lot of people might believe, it was never somebody who was my contemporary." Rock then asked Prince directly if there was ever a beef between himself and Jackson. Prince said, "Not to me, no." Not only that, Prince once defended Jackson to the press. When asked by a plucky reporter who he thought would win in a fistfight between him and Jackson, Prince laughed and said that, quote, "Michael's not a fighter, he's a lover." When the crowd's laughter quickly turned into a low roar, presumably because of the long-standing abuse allegations against Jackson, Prince told everyone to reserve judgment. Can I just say something? I've never really spoke publicly about Michael. We should all just kind of like chill, because he may know something none of us really know. The talk show host Tavis Smiley, who wrote the book Before You Judge Me, The Triumph and Tragedy of Michael Jackson's Last Days, described a meeting he had with Prince right after Jackson died, which put Prince's relationship with Jackson into a different perspective. He told Conan O'Brien that upon hearing about Jackson's death, Prince locked himself in his room for days and didn't talk to anybody. Days later, Smiley said he met up with Prince at his hotel suite after a concert and had a private discussion with him about Jackson. Smiley told O'Brien,
"And from 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning until the sun came up, I sat and listened to him talk about his respect for Michael's artistic genius."
Summing up his night talking with the music legend, Smiley had this to say about Prince's reflections on the talent of Michael Jackson.
"It's something I'll never forget, listening to this one artistic genius revel in the humanity and the dignity and the craft of another artistic genius. It was a powerful evening."
Fighting over costumes, ridiculous movie demands, and backlash over a family tragedy. What started the ongoing feud between stars Sarah Jessica Parker and Kim Cattrall? Will the two ever work together again? Keep watching for the details. In 2008, Clifford Strite, the real-life inspiration behind Willie Garson's Stanford Blatch, tried to sell a book proposal about the Sex and the City stars. According to the New York Post, in the proposal, Strite revealed that while the four stars were the best of friends on screen, the reality was very different. According to Strite, Cattrall was a natural comedian and a scene stealer in the best possible sense. The camera went right to her.
You know what they say? Big arms, big arms.
Hello, 911? I'm on fire.
That didn't sit well with Sarah Jessica Parker, who was supposed to be the series lead, so Parker reportedly decided to ostracize Cattrall. Strite claims Parker, Cynthia Nixon, and Kristen Davis supposedly formed a clique, which omitted Cattrall and the show's creator-producer Darren Star. Cattrall and Star reportedly leaned on each other, but when Star exited the show after 2 seasons, Michael Patrick King took over his role. Cattrall was left completely isolated. The alleged rift was so major that while shooting in Atlantic City, Parker supposedly rented a house to share with Davis and Nixon, but didn't invite Cattrall. An HBO spokesperson said at the time that Kim stayed in a different house because she was married, and her husband was supposed to come. But rumors of on-set drama kept mounting. One source told the New York Post that no one would speak with Cattrall, quote, not even in the makeup room. Sex and the City came to a close in 2004 after 6 successful seasons. Many fans were left to wonder why the ladies hadn't kept going. Kim Cattrall revealed on Friday Night with Jonathan Ross that it wasn't the rumored feuding which ended the show, but her salary negotiations. Cattrall admitted, "I felt after 6 years, it was time for all of us to participate in the financial windfall of Sex and the City. When they didn't seem keen on that, I thought it was time to move on." According to The Telegraph, Cattrall first asked for a raise when Sarah Jessica Parker received an executive producer promotion during season 2. It apparently alienated her from her co-stars, who reportedly, quote, wouldn't even sit with her at mealtimes. And as if to prove that point, Parker sat with Cynthia Nixon and Kristen Davis at the 2004 Emmys, while Cattrall sat at a different table. Cattrall candidly replied after being questioned about it, "Are we the best of friends? No, we're professional actresses. We have our own separate lives." Parker was adamant that Cattrall's pay was never an issue, saying, "Cattrall mentioned money and no one should vilify her for it. People made a decision that we had vilified her." Kim Cattrall made it clear she was unhappy with what she earned on the show. A source close to Cattrall told the New York Post, "There was a disparity between what Sarah got and what the other girls got. Money reportedly ended up being a deciding factor behind her joining the first Sex and the City film." Cattrall told Marie Claire in 2008 that she initially declined because she didn't feel, quote, ready and strong enough to revisit Samantha. Chris Albrecht, HBO's former chairman and CEO, noted, "Sarah was becoming more and more famous, and her salary increased beyond what was contractually committed, which is normal for hit shows. The other actresses wanted to keep up." But Cattrall insisted it was all about timing. She admitted, "4 years ago, I was going through a painful public divorce. The series was coming to an end, and my father was diagnosed with dementia. I felt it was time to be with my real family." When the movie was finally released in May 2008, it was a hit at the worldwide box office, earning nearly $419 million. But according to The Telegraph, shooting it wasn't easy. The supposed feud between Sarah Jessica Parker and Cattrall reportedly became so petty that the two stars fought over their outfits because, quote, each coveted the other's costumes. When the four actors reunited for 2010 Sex and the City 2, Sarah Jessica Parker and Kim Cattrall put up a united front, adamantly denying rumors of a beef between them. Parker told Elle, "I don't think anybody wants to believe that I love Kim. I adore her. I wouldn't have done the movie without her." Cattrall responded in the Daily Mail, saying, "I think Sarah was right. People don't want to believe that we get on. They have too much invested in the idea of two strong, successful women fighting with each other." Cattrall told Marie Claire at the time that the chemistry among the four of us is very strong. Kristen Davis called the rumors ridiculous, and Cynthia Nixon noted, "It hasn't always been smooth sailing, but the idea that we're somehow adversarial is ludicrous." Parker agreed, saying, "When you're on set, you're working 90-hour weeks. You're never home, you're exhausted. There are times when all of us have been sensitive, and sometimes feelings get hurt." Despite their claims, New York Magazine reported in 2009 that tensions were indeed quite high, alleging that Parker and Cattrall were not speaking to one another on set. In September 2017, Sarah Jessica Parker told Extra that a third Sex and the City movie had been in the works with a quote, "beautiful, funny, heartbreaking, joyful, very relatable script and story." She also confirmed, "It's over. We're not doing it." Parker said she was disappointed, and her fellow stars shared their own anger, with Kristen Davis writing on Instagram, "It is deeply frustrating not to be able to share that chapter with all of you. I wish that we could have made the final chapter on our own terms to complete the stories of our characters. It was initially unclear why the project fell through, but the Daily Mail placed the blame on Kim Cattrall, with a source alleging that the actor was, quote, "always playing the victim." The Insider further claimed that the film fell apart right before pre-production because Kim had the audacity to tell Warner Brothers that she would only do this if they made other movies she had in development. Another source supported those claims, alleging that it was a fantastic script, but Warner Brothers couldn't give in to her ridiculous demands. Kim held everyone's life up. Her behavior is beyond disappointing. The drama surrounding the third Sex and the City film just couldn't be squashed. Kim Cattrall told Piers Morgan that she was cool with her co-stars making a third flick without her. She also confessed that she and the others had never been friends. According to People, an insider put the blame back on her, stating, "It's amazing Kim is saying she wasn't negotiating because she was absolutely asking for many demands, some of which have already been quoted. When she said the relationship was toxic, it's interesting because she is the one who creates the drama, but she won't take honest responsibility for her actions." Sarah Jessica Parker revealed on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen that she was heartbroken by Cattrall's comments, saying,
"I don't know, I found it very upsetting because that's not the way I recall our experience."
Though we may never know what actually happened, another insider told People the truth may lie somewhere in between. The insider claimed Cattrall was willing to have a conversation, but she needed to hear something she hasn't heard before, namely that they would treat her character with some dignity and respect, and they wouldn't even engage in that sort of discussion. The insider was adamant that Cattrall was sick of having, quote, "one humiliating plotline after another," and that she never wanted to derail things. The circumstances of the third Sex and the City film were brought up again by the Daily Beast in 2018. And this time around, Sarah Jessica Parker didn't brush off those feud rumors. Parker appeared to confirm that there was indeed beef between her and Kim Cattrall, and that it pulled the plug on the film. According to the Daily Beast, Parker said, "When things aren't true, especially when it is a personal attack about your character, the way you've chosen to conduct yourself specifically, I'm stunned by how deeply it still cuts. It's so painful because all you want to do is respond." The actor told the outlet that she was counseled not to fire back at Cattrall, but the Me Too movement inspired her to take a different approach. Parker said, "For so long, I was told to be quiet about all of that stuff. And all of a sudden, I'm like, if people are being encouraged to come forward and talk about really difficult, painful, potentially criminal things that they were part of or witnessed, I think I can talk about the Sex and the City 3 movie." In February 2018, Kim Cattrall took to Instagram to ask fans for help locating her missing brother, Christopher, who had disappeared from his home in Alberta, Canada. CNN reported that police found him dead on his property, and Cattrall confirmed the news on Twitter, writing, "We want to thank you all on social media for your outpouring of love and support in this trying time." But that sentiment wasn't extended to Sarah Jessica Parker. Following the tragic news, Parker told Extra, "I can't begin to know how her family is managing such a loss. We all send her our love and condolences and grant her the privacy that she's asked for." Parker also told ET, "If somebody in your life, whether you're in touch with them or not, is suffering for any reason, it's involuntary that you want to convey condolences or sadness or just let someone know you're thinking about them." But Cattrall took issue with Parker's words. She took to Instagram saying, "I don't need your love or support at this tragic time. Your continuous reaching out is a painful reminder of how cruel you really were then and now. Let me make this very clear. You are not my family. You are not my friend. So I'm writing to tell you one last time to stop exploiting our tragedy in order to restore your nice girl persona." Following Kim Cattrall's very public diss on social media, Sarah Jessica Parker reverted back to denying any animosity with her former co-star. Parker told People, "I never responded to the conversation Kim had with Piers Morgan, where she said things that were really hurtful about me. We had this experience, and it was amazing, and nothing will ever be like it." Parker then responded to Cattrall's suggestion that they could make a third Sex and the City movie without her. Parker told People, "I couldn't imagine anyone else playing that part, so there was no fight. It was completely fabricated because I actually never responded. And I won't, because she needed to say what she needed to say, and that is her privilege." After the death of Cattrall's brother sparked major backlash, Parker didn't address the headline-making story. But a source told People she had good intentions, sharing, "Sarah called and texted Kim privately offering her support. When asked about her brother's passing on a red carpet, Sarah conveyed again her condolences and love." In January 2021, TV Line confirmed that Sex and the City was coming back to TV as a 10-episode HBO Max special called And Just Like That. But while Sarah Jessica Parker, Cynthia Nixon, and Kristen Davis signed on to reprise their roles, Kim Cattrall didn't. The show follows the trio as they navigate the complicated reality of life and friendship in their 50s. Casey Bloys, HBO Max Chief Content Officer, gave TV Line a hint about how they'll deal with the absence of Samantha Jones. Referencing Parker and executive producer Michael Patrick King, Bloys noted that they're not trying to redo Sex and the City, and they're not trying to say that these characters are reliving their 30s. It is very much a story about women in their 50s. Bloys went on to say, "Just as in real life, people come into your life, people leave, friendships fade, and new friendships start. So it should all feel somewhat organic." Cattrall didn't respond to the news outright, but she did subtly tell fans she had no regrets about walking away by liking a fan's tweet, according to Glamour. The fan's tweet read, "I absolutely love Sex and the City, and whilst I am saddened that Samantha will not return, I applaud doing what is best for you and think this is a great example of putting yourself first. Well done, Kim Cattrall."
This is about a clear decision, an empowered decision in my life to end one chapter and start another.
While taking the high road and not engaging in Twitter spats seems to be the logical thing to do, celebrities prove they're just like us, and getting into squabbles sometimes gets the better of them. Here are some of the savage celeb Twitter feuds that shook us to the core. Kim Kardashian and Taylor Swift had a deliciously satisfying Twitter feud back in 2016 due to the release of Kanye West's song Famous and the accompanying music video.
You guys want to call this a feud? You want to call this throwing shade?
Their beef was so epic, in fact, it actually caused Swift to delete all her social media posts and pretty much declared that the old Taylor was dead. A refresher for those of you that were living under a rock. In Famous, West raps about how he made Swift famous and how she subsequently owes him intercourse. Per West's since deleted tweet, the rapper revealed that he actually called Swift and she gave him her blessings. Swift, however, told a different story, so leave it to Kim K to intervene.
Oh, it's on.
She went right for the jugular by posting to her Snapchat a video of the Bad Blood crooner actually approving the lyrics. To add even more insult to injury, she then ignites a Twitter feud by posting, "Wait, it's legit National Snake Day? They have holidays for everybody. I mean everything these days." Jaws were dropped and Swift's reputation took years to recover after the biggest social media takedown of the year. Former child star Amanda Bynes suffered a severe psychotic break back in 2013 when she went on a Twitter rampage against a number of celebrities, from Drake to internet darling Chrissy Teigen. While most of the celebs don't engage with someone who was clearly suffering from mental illness, Rihanna decided to fight back, as the tweet Bynes sent her was downright cruel, saying, "Chris Brown beat you because you're not pretty enough." A following tweet read, "Rihanna, no one wants to be your lover, so you call everyone and their mother that I almost named my new dog Rihanna." Yikes. Although Amanda has since deleted the tweets, the Needed Me crooner fired back with, "You see what happens when they cancel intervention?" The feud continued with Bynes attacking the singer further, causing even Courtney Love to get involved on Twitter, hilariously telling the actress, "Pull it together, dude." Kanye West and Wiz Khalifa found themselves in an angry Twitter feud after West's 2016 announcement regarding his Waves album, the name of which was later changed to The Life of Pablo, all due to a hilarious misunderstanding. Wiz first attacked the original title of West's album, which Wiz thought referred to the imprisoned rapper Max B, saying, "Max B is the wavy one, he created the wave, there is no wave without him." After ranting about Max more, Wiz finally finished with, "Hit this KK and become yourself." Although the black and yellow LO rapper was referring to his own strain of marijuana, West read it as the initials of his wife, Kim Kardashian. In a now deleted post, West retaliated in a surge of tweets, with his worst being, "You wouldn't have a child if it wasn't for me. You own waves? I own your child." The stronger hitmaker was referring to Khalifa's son, Sebastian, whom he had with ex-wife Amber Rose. Her name may sound familiar because, as it turns out, she's also West's ex-girlfriend. Later, however, West would tweet that he would never speak on kids again. Probably for the best. Retro sweetheart Lana Del Rey isn't usually one for online beef, so when she found herself feuding with one notorious Twitter rager, fans were all ears for the melodic sad pop crooner's sudden ferocity. The unexpected beef began in 2018 when the Summertime Sadness singer criticized Kanye West on Instagram for posting a selfie wearing a MAGA hat. Del Rey wrote, "Trump becoming our president was a loss for the country, but your support of him is a loss for the culture." Azealia Banks then took it upon herself to chime in, calling the pop star hypocritical for collaborating with A$AP Rocky, who, like Trump, has been called out for physically assaulting women. Suddenly, in a move nobody expected, Del Rey fought back, unloading a series of tweets telling the 212 rapper, "I won't not you the up, period." What? Things got extra petty as the feud went on, with both girls taking cheap shots at one another. Banks jabbing at Del Rey's plastic surgery rumors, while the video game's hitmaker fired back at the rapper's mental health. The EDM principles of peace, love, unity, and respect certainly did not ring true when DJs Diplo and Zedd found themselves in a bitter feud on Twitter. When Zedd's album True Colors came out, Diplo made it very clear he wasn't a fan by tweeting a poop emoji. The Major Lazer founder then attacked Zedd even further during an interview with Radio.com, declaring, "He's been pegged as a moneymaker for a major label to do EDM, which to me isn't even a genre." Miraculously, Zedd exercised restraint, but for some reason, Diplo struck yet again in 2016, accusing Zedd of ripping off fellow electronic artist Flume for an M&M's commercial. It appeared Zedd had enough, finally retaliating with, "Stop being a jealous little and do us all a favor and just shut the up. Thank you." Everything seemed to die down until 2 years later when DJ Max Vangeli opened for Diplo and allegedly got snubbed by the star, causing a Twitter call-out. Zedd then hopped on the opportunity to tweet 100% truth. This caused Diplo to get lippy again, and the whole debacle resulted in an epic feud with countless DJs weighing in on social media for the ultimate EDM throwdown.
What did it feel like being blocked on Twitter by the leader of the free world?
Euphoric.
It's no secret that Chrissy Teigen loves voicing her opinions on social media. From hilariously poking fun at hubby John Legend to clapping back at trolls, the Sports Illustrated model is the queen of Twitter. Who was her biggest opponent to date, however? None other than Donald Trump. We all know Teigen isn't a fan of the current U.S. president, and she's been quite vocal with her opinions. For example, for Trump's 72nd birthday in 2018, Teigen took to her account to announce she and her entire family would be donating $72,000 each to the ACLU to make Trump's birthday great again, urging others to do the same. In September of 2019, Teigen decided to be more direct with her disdain for the president, and it was totally savage. Trump tweeted about his First Step Act criminal justice bill. Musician John Legend and his filthy-mouthed wife are talking now about how great it is, but I didn't see them around when we needed help getting it passed. Teigen's perfect response? LOL. What a ass. Tagged everyone but me. An honor, Mr. President.
Goodbye.
The world was shocked when Ariana Grande started dating Pete Davidson a few weeks after she split from the late Mac Miller in 2018. What's even more shocking is that the duo got engaged only a short while after they started dating. Their fast-paced romance was totally wild, from getting matching tattoos to cutesy PDA on their social media. In October of the same year, Davidson and Grande's whirlwind of a relationship came to an abrupt halt when the duo suddenly broke up and called off their engagement.
Wow, that could have been very bad.
A source close to the couple told TMZ, the two still have love for each other, but things are over romantically. Clearly, there wasn't too much love during a Saturday Night Live promo clip when Davidson jokingly proposed to Maggie Rogers.
You want to get married?
No.
0 for 3.
Grande wasn't too happy about this, liking a fan's Twitter comment that SNL was milking her breakup and then proceeding to tweet, "Hell nah, though. Thank you, next." Vague, yet probably aimed at her ex-fiancé. There are definitely no tears left to cry with these former flames. Jimmy Kimmel learned the hard way that if you upset Kanye West, he'll be sure to go on an online rant. The talk show host found himself in a heated Twitter feud, or more of a one-sided spat, when he ran a spoof of West's BBC radio interview in September of 2013. The Gold Digger rapper certainly didn't find the jokes too funny, as he soon tweeted, "Jimmy Kimmel is out of line to try and spoof in any way the first piece of honest media in years." The rant didn't stop there either. While West continued his raging, Kimmel remarked, "Apparently Kanye West is very, very angry with me." Of course, this only infuriated Kanye even more, while the comedian kept firing back with hilarious quips. Like most of West's Twitter feuds, this one ended up evaporating, though Kimmel spoke about the incident on his show.
Finally, I'm in a rap feud. I've always wanted to be in a rap feud.
Before Miley Cyrus decided to go back to her country roots, she was a poster child for a former Disney star gone wild, complete with twerking, tongue-wagging, and admitted drug use. When she released the music video for her song Wrecking Ball in 2013, the singer was quick to acknowledge that she drew inspiration from Sinead O'Connor's 1990 hit, Nothing Compares to You. Of course, O'Connor caught wind of this admission, causing her to pen Cyrus an open letter warning her that she was being pimped out by the music industry. The former Disney queen didn't take too well to the constructive criticism, deciding to fire back on Twitter. In a move that many considered very cruel, the Malibu crooner took a jab at O'Connor's mental health issues, posting a screen cap of the Irish singer's old tweets from 2011 and then comparing her to troubled actress Amanda Bynes. Other celebs sprang to O'Connor's defense, including Boy George, who tweeted, "Your kindness is overwhelming." Meanwhile, O'Connor took to her Facebook page to write another message aimed at Cyrus. "You have posted today tweets of mine which are 2 years old, which were posted by me when I was unwell and seeking help. I mean, really, who advises you?" Miley's flippant Twitter response, "I don't have time to write you an open letter because I'm hosting and performing on SNL this week." Actress Bella Thorne did a pretty gutsy thing in June of 2019 when a hacker stole nude photos from her phone and threatened to post them online for her fans to see. The Midnight Sun star actually beat her blackmailer to the punch, posting them to her own Twitter page for the world to see and writing to her followers, "I'm putting this out because it's my decision. Now you don't get to take another thing away from me." While many applauded her for such a move, Sister Act actress Whoopi Goldberg disagreed. During an episode of The View, Goldberg declared,
"Listen, if you're famous, I don't care how old you are, you don't take nude pictures of yourself."
Defending herself, Thorne then posted a video to her Instagram page responding to Whoopi.
"And I just want to say that me watching this interview made me feel really bad about myself, and I hope you're happy. I really do."
We assume the actress won't be appearing on The View anytime soon. The Jordan Woods and Kardashian clan scandal of 2019 was so epic, the entire world was keeping up with what happened. In case you need a refresher, here's the scoop. Kylie Jenner's former BFF was caught kissing Tristan Thompson, the father of Khloe Kardashian's daughter, True. After the news broke, Thompson was dumped and so was Woods, out of Jenner's guest house. In order to avert being blacklisted by her former besties and their entire fan base, the model went on Jada Pinkett Smith's Red Table Talk series to share her side of the story. Although she did admit the NBA player kissed her as she was leaving, she maintains nothing was reciprocated.
Never once was I giving him a lap dance, making out with him.
The Keeping Up with the Kardashian star definitely watched the episode as she unleashed on Woods via Twitter. "If you're going to try to save yourself by going public instead of calling me privately to apologize first, at least be honest about your story. By the way, you are the reason my family broke up. It was all very messy and practically impossible not to keep up with."
Meghan McCain, also known as John McCain's daughter, is one of the leading Republican pundits on daytime TV. As the lone conservative on The View, she clashes with her co-hosts on the regular, but Meghan beefs with a lot of famous faces. Let's take a look at some of Meghan McCain's feuds. Although she agrees with the majority of his policy positions, McCain has a long-standing feud with Donald Trump, mostly due to his repeated attacks on her father. It all started during the 2015 Republican primaries, when Trump said this about Senator McCain.
"He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you."
It all went downhill from there. During her eulogy for her father, Meghan seemingly took a swipe at Trump.
"The America of John McCain has no need to be made great again because America was always great."
In March 2019, Trump jumped on Twitter and took a jab at the late senator for finishing, quote, last in his class at the U.S. Naval Academy. Meghan then tore into Trump on The View.
"He spends his weekend obsessing over great men because he knows it and I know it and all of you know it. He will never be a great man."
At a 2019 campaign stop in Arizona, Senator Amy Klobuchar recalled sitting next to the late Senator McCain during Trump's inaugural address. She claimed that the senator was, quote, reciting the names of dictators.
He knew more than any of us what we were facing as a nation. He understood it.
Meghan McCain took offense, big time. She tweeted, "On behalf of the entire McCain family, Amy Klobuchar, please be respectful to all of us and leave my father's legacy and memory out of presidential politics." Klobuchar's communications director released a statement to CNN saying Klobuchar has, quote, deep respect for the McCain family. The statement added, while she was simply sharing a memory, she continues to believe that the best stories about Senator McCain are not about the views he had about President Trump. They're about McCain's own valor and heroism. Representative Ilhan Omar came under fire for comments that critics said played into anti-Semitic tropes, according to NPR, and McCain was among those blasting the freshman congresswoman. On an episode of The View, McCain compared Omar to white supremacists in Charlottesville, Virginia.
And what Ilhan Omar is saying is very scary to me, and it's very scary to a lot of people, and I don't think you have to be Jewish to recognize that.
On Late Night with Seth Meyers pointed out that Omar was receiving death threats and suggested that comparing the lawmaker to white supremacists is also dangerous. But McCain wasn't hearing it.
I stand by every single thing I've said, and if that makes me unpopular in this room or in front of you, so be it.
While Meyers argued that he was actually trying to find common ground with her, McCain doubled down, mentioning Omar's controversial tweeting.
You keep bringing up the 2 tweets that she's apologized for, and I think that's a little unfair to her, especially because we've established—
Are you her publicist?
What?
Are you her press person?
McCain found herself in another Twitter feud after White House aide Kelly Sadler mocked her father during a private meeting, allegedly saying that Senator John McCain's views were irrelevant because he was, quote, dying anyway. Comedian and actor Kumail Nanjiani commented on those cold words in a since-deleted tweet that, according to Entertainment Tonight, said, "What was said about McCain was vile, but I wish the McCains had been as offended and vocal when vile stuff was said about other people/races/nationalities. Perhaps we wouldn't be in this moment right now." When a follower mentioned the time Senator McCain defended Obama against a racist attack during the 2008 presidential campaign, Nanjiani replied, "This is one example, years ago. He has had many opportunities since then to take a stand, as the rhetoric and actions of his party were turning worse and worse. He also picked Sarah Palin as his running mate and ushered in this era of GOP politics." Meghan replied by sharing a video of the previously mentioned campaign moment, tweeting, "You mean like he did here? I could give you literally thousands of examples of my father speaking up against bigotry of all kinds, but this video sums it up pretty concisely. You know nothing about my family or my father, Kumail. Nothing." Nanjiani then proceeded to bend the knee, saying, "I will just say something I truly believe. If we had more politicians like your father, the world would be a better place." As a writer for the Daily Beast in 2009, McCain took aim at conservative firebrand Ann Coulter, saying, "I straight up don't understand this woman or her popularity. I find her offensive, radical, insulting, and confusing all at the same time." Coulter didn't respond, but fellow conservative and Fox News personality Laura Ingraham sure did. According to Think Progress, Ingraham imitated McCain's voice and joked that she could never be on The Real World because, quote, "they don't like plus-sized models." According to the Huffington Post, McCain went on The View and called Ingram's comments terrible, adding, "When Tyra Banks went on her show in a bathing suit and said, 'Kiss my fat ass,' that's what I feel like. Kiss my fat ass."
Kiss my fat ass!
Insurrection Barbie? Scumbag humans? Ass-wiggling contests? These country music stars were plucking pissed. What happens when you give a country legend just a measly minute to perform his hit song at the biggest country award show? He doesn't show up, that's what. George Jones, known for his country hits like He Stopped Loving Her Today and White Lightning, was nominated for Single of the Year at the 1999 Country Music Awards for his hit Choices. Jones had already taken home the Grammy for Best Male Country Vocal Performance for his song. According to the Washington Post, Jones was supposed to perform Choices that night at the CMAs, but Jones refused to sing when producers told him he had to perform a shortened version, and the legend didn't go to the award show. Asking Jones to cut his song short didn't sit right with country musicians, especially Alan Jackson, who was also set to perform his hit Papa Top. Jackson shocked the CMA's audience when he didn't finish his own song but belted out part of Jones's song, Choices. During an interview with Primetime Country, Jackson shared that it's normal for award shows to ask everyone performing to shorten their songs, but added, George Jones isn't everybody. He deserved a little more than just anybody else. He deserved a little more respect, I thought. During the interview, Jones actually phoned Jackson and said, well, I'll tell you what, you made this old boy feel awful proud last night.
Lord, it just flies to number one.
Well, I've been lucky.
And really, when I say this, I am very, very proud of you.
Country artist Brad Paisley messed with the wrong guy when he downplayed pop music. Songwriter Richard Marx, who wrote for both pop and country artists, including Martina McBride, Celine Dion, and Josh Groban, released a memoir in 2021 titled Stories to Tell. Marx looked back on a country music seminar where the question was asked, what is the real difference between pop and country? The author was struck by Brad Paisley's answer, which was, well, country music is really about the song and the craft of writing, and pop music is really all about the production. Marx expressed his frustration in an interview with the Tennessean, saying, sorry, but it's also tough to swallow coming from a guy who's been famous for 9 minutes. Paisley apparently responded, I didn't mean to make Richard mad. I like his music. In fact, I'm the one who bought his last album. While it doesn't seem like these two stars worked out their issues, they've both had continuous success in the music industry. It's not uncommon to hear about artists getting into legal battles and contract disputes with their record companies, but Tim McGraw and the first label to sign him, Curb Records, had a particularly ugly dispute. According to Billboard, Curb was reportedly unhappy that McGraw recorded tracks for his upcoming album, Emotional Traffic, because, as stated in his contract, albums were to be spaced out by 12 to 18 months, so the label sued McGraw for breach of contract. McGraw and his team believed he was fulfilling his duties and giving Curb his last record. He wanted out of the label. According to Billboard, McGraw countersued Curb Records and claimed that the company had delayed his album and released several greatest hits albums to keep him under contract. In November 2011, a judge released McGraw from the record label, and in May 2012, he signed with Big Machine Records. McGraw told the Associated Press, it's time for me to look at my new partner in the business of making records and radio, and just sort of step on the gas. But that wasn't the end of their feud. After he released the album, 2 Lanes of Freedom with Big Machine, Curb sued McGraw for copyright infringement in April 2013, claiming that he was under their contract while he was recording the album.
Perfectionist in me never thinks anything's completely finished. There comes a point where you're sort of in the barrel, as they say.
In February 2013, the Tennessee Supreme Court refused to hear the case. The claims were also dismissed by a Tennessee federal judge in August 2013, though the contract breach dispute continued, according to The Hollywood Reporter. It's tough to hear about celebrities suing their parents, but country singer LeAnn Rimes had to do just that when she filed a lawsuit against her dad, Wilbur Rimes, and her manager, Lyle Walker, for stealing upwards of $7 million of her earnings, according to MTV News. LeAnn's mother, Belinda Rimes, filed the suit in May 2000 since the songstress was only 17. The lawsuit claimed that Wilbur and Lyle Walker received nearly 30% of LeAnn's income by charging unreasonable fees and exploiting LeAnn Rimes Entertainment, Inc. The two men also claimed over $8 million in royalty payments, while she received around $3 million between 1996 to 1999. According to ABC News, LeAnn said in 2005, I go by saying money is the root of all evil, and I definitely believe that the love for money is the root of all evil because it changes people. Her father countersued with claims that his daughter was spending too much of her money. LeAnn said, I was being called a spoiled brat by some people. Things changed between LeAnn and her father when she married her first husband, Dean Sheramet, in 2002. The pair settled things peacefully for the sake of her wedding.
And you know what I realized about that? It wasn't about the money at all. It was about I wanted my dad back.
She told ABC News, there's so much more life ahead of me. To carry on a burden of hating someone, it's just not worth it. I've never hated my dad. I just wanted a dad. The country band Sugarland found success when they released their debut album, Twice the Speed of Life, in 2004. Made up of Kristen Hall, Jennifer Nettles, and Christian Bush, the band scored big with their record single, Baby Girl, when it reached number 2 on the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart and spent a whopping 46 weeks on the chart overall. The band's first album album would reach double platinum status, but there was a rift between Hall and her bandmates. Hall left Sugarland in January 2006 with an announcement on their website that stated, "Kristen has decided that she wants to stay home and write songs." Without Hall, the band released the albums Enjoy the Ride and Love on the Inside. In 2008, Hall sued her old bandmates for $1.5 million, claiming a third of the band's profits belonged to her. Hall's lawsuit claimed that she came up with the name Sugarland, co-wrote every song on their first album, and helped the band find success as their manager. Hall also claimed that she used her credit cards to finance the band before they made it big. According to Billboard, Hall's suit went up to $14 million. Nettles and Bush argued there was never a profit-sharing agreement when Hall decided to part ways with the band. CBS News reported that the former band members reached an undisclosed settlement in November 2010. Country star Travis Tritt had a few not-so-nice words to say to Billy Ray Cyrus after he released his 1992 song, Achy Breaky Heart. The track off of Cyrus's debut album, Some Gave All, had 5 weeks at #1 on the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart. Tritt recounted in his memoir, 10 Feet Tall and Bulletproof, that he told a reporter he didn't care for the music video in which Cyrus is greeted by a crowd of fans as he exits a limousine. Tritt later explained to the Baltimore Sun, "I simply said I didn't like a song, didn't like a video, and darn sure didn't want to turn country music into an ass-wiggling contest." At the American Music Awards in January 1993, Cyrus won the award for Top Country Single for Achy Breaky Heart. He hit back at Tritt in his acceptance speech by referencing Tritt's hit song, Here's a Quarter, Call Someone Who Cares. Cyrus said, "To those people who don't like Achy Breaky Heart, here's a quarter, call someone who cares." In his memoir, Tritt shared that he apologized to Cyrus on the radio and sent him a peace lily. Tritt wrote, "I've talked to Billy Ray Cyrus since, and no lightning bolts came down from the clouds." Toby Keith and Natalie Maines of the Chicks had an all-out war in the early 2000s. It all started when Keith released the song, courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue, The Angry American, in response to the events of 9/11. He told CBS News, "I was so angry when we were attacked here on American soil that it leaked out of me." Maines wasn't a big fan of the tune, telling the Los Angeles Daily News, "It's ignorant and it makes country music sound ignorant. It targets an entire culture, and not just the bad people who did bad things. You've got to have some tact. Anybody can write, 'We'll put a boot in your ass,' but a lot of people agree with it." Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue topped the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart, while Keith's album, Unleashed, was nominated for Favorite Country Album at the American Music Awards in 2003. Despite his success, Keith didn't let Maines' words go. Keith would bash Maines to CMT, claiming that she's not a songwriter, and during his concerts would project a fake image of Maines hugging Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein. Maines fired back when she wore a t-shirt that read FUTK at the Academy of Country Music Awards in May 2003. Keith was sheepish about their feud by that October. He shared with CMT, "I'm embarrassed about the way I got myself sucked into all of that." At the 2017 Country Music Association Awards, Garth Brooks took the stage and decided to lip-sync his song, Ask Me How I Know, which angered country singer Eric Church. When Brooks won Entertainer of the Year, an award for which Church was also nominated that night, it only seemed to irritate Church further. Church told Rolling Stone in 2018, "So the winner of the biggest category of the night lip-synced in the biggest moment of the show? To me, lip-syncing is and always will be a red line. It's fabricated. I don't want young artists thinking it's okay, because it's not."
And I'm not a guy that follows rules great.
After Brooks won Entertainer of the Year again in 2019, Church altered the lyrics of Waylon Jennings's "Are You Sure Hank Done It This Way" during a concert to sing "I Know Garth Didn't Do It This Way." According to unconfirmed reports from Saving Country Music, fans brought signs declaring Church their true Entertainer of the Year, leading Church to make a remark about ticking off the wrong group of fans. But Brooks didn't express animosity toward Church. He told Nash 93.1, "But with E, the crazy thing was that we hugged each other right before. The line, 'They pissed the wrong fans off,' that's perfect. Because if our name hadn't been called, then in Knoxville, there would have been signs everywhere too. Those guys will keep going. And the year he wins, it will be the sweetest year for him." Church later won the award at the 2020 CMAs. Famous country duo Tyler Hubbard and Brian Kelly founded Florida Georgia Line in 2010. Hubbard and Kelly succeeded with their debut single, Cruise, from their 2012 album, Here's to the Good Times. The single peaked at the top spot on Billboard's Hot Country Songs for 24 weeks. The duo continued to have hits with songs like This Is How We Roll and Talk You Out of It. But after 5 studio albums, Hubbard and Kelly announced they were performing their last show together in August 2022 in Minnesota. According to the Los Angeles Times, Hubbard and Kelly showed signs of a rift during the presidential race in 2020, where Hubbard and his wife Haley supported President Joe Biden, while Kelly expressed support for Donald Trump. As a result, Hubbard unfollowed Kelly on Instagram, with Hubbard sharing on SiriusXM's Exit 209.
I said, hey, buddy, I love you, and I love you a lot more in real life than on your stories right now.
The duo launched solo careers, with Kelly releasing his album, Sunshine State of Mind, in June 2021, while Hubbard is set to release his solo album in January 2023. Hubbard told People in February 2022, I think taking a break is the proper term, as opposed to breaking up. The feud between Maren Morris and Jason Aldean's wife, Brittany Aldean, all started in August 2022. Aldean shared a makeup reveal video on Instagram with a caption that read, I'd really like to thank my parents for not changing my gender when I went through my tomboy phase. I love this girly life. The ill-advised comment didn't sit well with many, with singer Cassidy Pope slamming Aldean's words, stating on Twitter that they were transphobic. Morris responded to Pope's tweet, siding with the Say It First songstress. She wrote, It's so easy to, not be a scumbag human. Sell your clip-ins and zip it, Insurrection Barbie. Aldean decided to explain her choice of words in an Instagram story, sharing in part, Love is protecting your child until they are mature enough as an adult to make their own life decisions. But it didn't end there. Both stars' husbands, Ryan Hurd and Jason Aldean, got in the mix. Aldean then joined Fox's Tucker Carlson, where she further discussed her opinion on gender. Tucker called Morris a, quote, lunatic and a fake country music singer. Morris fired back, creating t-shirts that read, Lunatic Country Music Person, and added the Trans Lifeline Crisis Hotline number, with proceeds from t-shirt sales going towards GLAAD and Trans Lifeline. Morris shared on Instagram that fans raised $150,000. Jason Aldean's PR firm, The Green Room, dropped the country star as a client after his wife's remarks. Country songstress Kelsea Ballerini expressed her frustrations with Eyes on You artist Chase Rice when he performed at an outdoor concert in Tennessee in June 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic. Rice posted a since-deleted Instagram story showing the packed event. Ballerini took to Twitter and shared, Imagine being selfish enough to put thousands of people's health at risk, not to mention the potential ripple effect, and play a normal country concert right now. Chase Rice music, we all want and need to tour. We just care about our fans and their families enough to wait. Ballerini wasn't the only one who was angered by the concert, so Rice addressed the backlash in an Instagram video. He said, Everybody had a blast, but then once I posted the video, a lot of people seeing that online had a big problem with how the show looked, how the show went down. A VP for the music venue told Variety that the concert followed COVID-19 protocol, which included reducing the number of concert goers, instituting temperature checks, and giving out sanitizers. But he added that rules might change for future concerts during 2020.
I know a lot of people are being politically correct and doing the right thing and staying home, and I haven't done that.
Dolly Parton and Porter Wagner were country music's biggest duo in the 60s and 70s. They worked together on numerous albums and gave fans songs like 1974's Please Don't Stop Loving Me, which became the duo's first #1 hit. But tension arose between Parton and Wagner, with Parton revealing decades later to the Los Angeles Times, I don't mean this in a bad way, but he very much was a male chauvinist pig. That's why we fought like crazy, because I wouldn't put up with a bunch of stuff. Parton left Wagner and his band in 1974, but not without releasing a farewell song to him, the now classic song, I Will Always Love You. Parton's solo career launched soon after. In 1979, Wagner sued Parton for $3 million over breach of contract. according to Rolling Stone. The lawsuit was settled, and in a 1983 interview with UPI, Wagner admitted that he had nothing but love for Parton. He said, "I love the woman. I'm not bitter that she left me. That's what she and I worked for. She's a beautiful lady. We had a difference in a litigation of contract." Wagner died in October 2007, and Parton was at his bedside before he passed. Wagner's daughter Deborah shared with Closer Weekly, "It meant everything in the world to us as family for her to share that time." Radio personality Bobby Bones ruffled the wrong feathers when he called Casey Musgraves rude after a 2013 interview at the CMAs. The Ringer explained that after Bones spoke with Musgraves, he made some of the footage into a segment called "Is Casey Musgraves Annoyed?" He only escalated the issue with his since-deleted tweet, "Will Casey Musgraves ever respond to my tweets? Enter your answer now. A, yes. B, no." Musgraves claimed that Bones played an edited version of their conversation. She tweeted back at him, stating, "If you'd play our original interview in full and tell people how you unfairly re-edited it, I might think about talking to you." Bones retorted, "Don't honor me with 'think about talking to you' like I'm a peasant. You aren't any better of a human than anyone else." According to Got Country Online, Musgraves responded with a now-deleted tweet directing fans to her original interview with Bones. She said, "I am a songwriter and a musician. That's what I've been passionate about my entire life, and it's really sad that the focus got taken away from that." Bones apologized to Musgraves in a video in March 2014. He stated,
"If I didn't put this out there, I think I would probably be a little angry at myself. So I'm swallowing my pride here."
Life in the public eye can be difficult, and no one knows that better than YouTube's biggest stars. When things go wrong, relationships break up, or friendships break down, there's seemingly only one place for the beef to play out: on the internet. Here are the biggest feuds to rock YouTube.
Hey guys, welcome to today's video.
Makeup artist and YouTuber Tati Westbrook appeared to sever ties with her former friend and protege James Charles in her Bye Sister video in May 2019. While their feud began weeks earlier when Charles promoted the Sugar Bear hair gummy vitamin brand on Instagram, in direct rivalry with Westbrook's own Halo Beauty line, Westbrook made several allegations about Charles' behavior, including claims that he'd, quote, tried to trick a straight man into thinking he's gay. As a result, Charles lost nearly 3 million YouTube subscribers, dropping from more than 16.5 million to about 13.8 million. After deleting his initial apology video, Charles rebutted Westbrook's allegations in a clip called No More Lies. As of mid-2019, his YouTube subscriber count is back up to well over 15.7 million, suggesting that he gained most of his fans back after their feud simmered down. Anyone who's ever dated a colleague knows that things can get messy if the relationship doesn't work out. And unfortunately, YouTubers Jake Paul and Alyssa Violet are prime examples of this.
YouTube, what is up?
When the two moved in together with members of Team 10, fans thought that Paul and Violet's relationship was going great. However, their public falling out began when Violet suggested things were on a downward spiral in February 2017. She tweeted, "Jake rhymes with snake. It f***ing sucks being so emotionally damaged by a person who you thought would always be there for you.
I just don't understand how someone could do that to someone."
According to 17, things quickly escalated when Violet claimed she was being thrown out of the house in a since-deleted YouTube video. After Paul alleged in a deleted tweet that she'd cheated on him, Violet refuted the claim, tweeting, "I did not cheat. Jalissa was never real. Jake had girl after girl over every other night. I have cried myself to sleep almost every single night living in this house. R.I.P. love." When Kat Von D accused Jeffree Star of stealing makeup artwork from her friend, these once close beauty artists appeared to fall out for good. In 2016, Von D publicly severed ties with Star in a since-deleted Instagram post, which read via Cosmo, "After years of making excuses for and rationalizing Jeffree's inappropriate behavior, including promoting drug use, racism, and bullying, I can no longer hold my tongue after recent events." She later explained in a YouTube video her decision to
distance myself, actually disassociate myself completely from him and his makeup line altogether.
Von D added,
"The way that Jeffree chooses to live his life and treat other people is not something that I personally agree with."
While Star has since deleted most of his original social media responses to Von D, Cosmo reports that the makeup mogul continued to throw some serious shade at his BFF turned rival. As recently as December 2018, Star suggested that Von D's makeup line was going to be sold exclusively at discount retailers. And months earlier, he'd included her beauty line in his full face of brands that hate me video.
I don't know why she's still talking about me, so I thought, you know what, let me just respond so I could stop getting a million tweets about it, because it does get really old.
Basically, it doesn't seem like these two will be making up anytime soon. YouTube personality Matt Santoro made headlines in January 2016 when he alleged that he'd been emotionally and physically abused in a relationship that had ended several months prior. According to The Independent, Santoro detailed the situation in a since-deleted video called My Abuse Story, claiming, "I had a panic attack one night because I couldn't handle being on eggshells with this person." Alleging that he'd also been hit in the face by his unnamed ex, Santoro added, "I left an event I was at and ended it with this person.
The things that have happened to me, the mistakes I've made, why do I replay them over and over in my head like they just happened?"
While Santoro never mentioned ex-girlfriend Nicole Arbor by name, the controversial Dear Fat People YouTuber responded with her own video, which was also later removed. In addition to denying the claims, Arbor alleged that Santoro shared this alleged account due to the attention she received over her viral fat-shaming video. She said of their split, "It was amicable at first, until my videos started doing well, and his feelings about the breakup turned to anger, turned to a whole bunch of lies."
Here comes all the life advice you need. It's you. All the is your fault.
James Charles' explosive feud with Tati wasn't the only time he played a role in a YouTube altercation. When fellow makeup artist Marlene Estelle announced that she was collaborating on a new Netflix documentary series about the beauty industry in 2018, Charles took to Twitter to express his dismay, writing in part, "I posted about my documentary several months ago. Everything that I put my heart and love and a ton of work into is always stolen by someone else. I feel so defeated right now, it's insane.
I don't want to badmouth people even if they have done me wrong, and also I just don't want to be a dramatic person. I try not to, sometimes it's hard, I'm not gonna lie."
But Stell wasn't here for these claims of theft. She tweeted, "James Charles, I think it would be great to hear about your input from an influencer side as well. I didn't approach Netflix, they approached me, and want to understand everything about the beauty industry. Nothing drama related. DM me privately if you would like." Making clear that the series would cover all aspects of the beauty industry, not just beauty influencers, she added, "I'm sorry this feels like it was stolen, but I did not seek out this opportunity. When you've been in this industry for 10 plus years, then tell us about your experience."
I started in 2008, back when it was literally you sat with, a crappy camera and a crappy lights, and you sat on your bedroom floor.
Mo money, mo problems, right? Well, billionaires have a lot of it, and that tends to breed enemies, like fellow rich folks, entertainment franchises, and even internet commenters. So let's just forget about our own measly bank balances for a minute as we check out the biggest billionaire beefs of all time. It was only a matter of time before Donald Trump and Michael Bloomberg started feuding after the former mayor of New York City entered the 2020 presidential race.
Mike would get it done.
In classic Trump form, a nickname came quickly with his tweet. Mini Mike is a 5'4" mass of dead energy who does not want to be on the debate stage with these professional politicians. No boxes, please. To that, Bloomberg responded, "We know many of the same people in New York. Behind your back, they laugh at you and call you a carnival barking clown. They know you inherited a fortune and squandered it with stupid deals and incompetence." Bloomberg ratcheted things up by purchasing billboards in Las Vegas ahead of the Nevada debate that read, "Donald Trump cheats at golf," and "Donald Trump eats burnt steak." Bloomberg then went on to get absolutely demolished at the debate, and his poll numbers took a massive hit. Trump pounced after Bloomberg's disastrous showing on Super Tuesday, tweeting, "Mini Mike Bloomberg's consultants and so-called advisors are on the gravy train, and all making a fortune for themselves pushing Mini hard when they knew he never had what it takes. Don't pay them anymore, Mike. They let you down."
As I said back in Philadelphia in 2016, not the right guy for the job.
3 days later, Bloomberg was out. Senator Bernie Sanders loves to rail against billionaires, but he's got one specific target who he describes as one of the, quote, faces of greed, Amazon founder and CEO Jeff Bezos. In 2016, the Bezos-owned Washington Post infamously published 16 negative stories on Sanders in 16 hours, according to Fair.org.
And I think it is important to take a look at the power and influence that Amazon has.
Beyond the countless stories of alleged worker mistreatment and employee deaths in Amazon's more than 100 fulfillment centers across the country, Sanders relentlessly hammered the tech CEO for also failing to pay his workers a livable wage. Sanders tweeted in 2018, "Count to 10. In those 10 seconds, Jeff Bezos just made more money than the median employee of Amazon makes in an entire year." As a result, Sanders' 2020 presidential campaign bested all candidates in donations from Amazon employees. That same year, Sanders introduced the Stop Bezos Act, a bill that would require large employers such as Amazon.com and Walmart to pay the government for food stamps, public housing, Medicaid, and other federal assistance received by their workers. Less than 2 months later, Amazon announced that it would raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. Former Microsoft CEO and current LA Clippers owner Steve Ballmer entered a very public feud with Madison Square Garden Company CEO and New York Knicks owner James Dolan over the most sports billionaire of things: a new stadium.
Work, defense, work!
Ballmer is proposing a new stadium for the Los Angeles Clippers in Inglewood, California, once the team's lease at the Staples Center is up in 2024. The problem for Dolan? The new stadium would be located a mile from the Forum, an indoor arena owned by his Madison Square Garden company, and the two would directly compete with each other for concert and event revenue. So how did Dolan respond? He, quote, filed lawsuits against the city, and even bankrolled a failed mayoral bid to block the construction. Ballmer told ESPN in October 2019, "We're on a path where we think we can build the arena whatever happens in the litigation. You want to hit us in the nose? Okay, we'll keep moving. You can't knock us down." Per the New York Daily News, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver attempted to reach an agreement between the two billionaires, but it didn't happen. In March 2020, though, USA Today reported that the Clippers had bought the Forum, so it looks like they really will keep on moving forward with their plans. The Porsche Taycan Turbo is an electric car that's in direct competition with Tesla, and tech entrepreneur Elon Musk makes sure everyone knows it. The Turbo's battery range is substantially lower than even the cheapest Tesla, which led Musk to tweet, Porsche, this word turbo does not mean what you think it does." A few months later, another tech billionaire inadvertently entered the mix. Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates said in an interview that while he appreciated Tesla for the current electric car boom, he bought a Porsche Taycan Turbo instead. Musk caught wind of Gates' purchase when a Twitter user tagged him in a post that read, "I'm disappointed because a lot of people are going to watch the interview and they are going to trust Bill's word for it and not even consider EVs. Why? Because Bill Gates is a really smart guy." But Musk doesn't appear to be sweating it. He responded, "My conversations with Gates have been underwhelming, to be honest." Oscar-winning actress Angelina Jolie isn't the high-profile star she once was, but she's always been an activist fighting for underprivileged people around the world. As a goodwill ambassador for the United Nations Human Rights Council, Jolie has been on several field missions speaking with refugees in more than 20 countries. She donated $1 million to Doctors Without Borders, and her Maddox Jolie Pitt Foundation is dedicated to eradicating extreme poverty, protecting natural resources, and conserving wildlife in Cambodia. So when Oprah Winfrey came calling, asking Jolie to help promote her Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa in 2006, you'd think it would be a natural fit. However, Jolie didn't just politely decline, she flat out refused. Want to know why? Remember that whole Jennifer Aniston being married to Brad Pitt when he met and fell in love with Jolie on the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith thing? Supposedly, Winfrey came down on the wrong side of the scandal.
You think this story's gonna have a happy ending?
Happy endings are just stories that haven't finished yet.
A source told Star magazine, Oprah says it's the last time she'll ask Angelina to help with any of her causes. Angelina has never forgiven Oprah for siding with Jennifer Aniston after Brad Pitt split from Jen.
Anthony Bourdain minced garlic, not words. Who'd he call a D-bag, a threat to America? The hellspawn of Kathy Lee and Betty Crocker. We're serving ourselves a slice of Bourdain with a side of piping hot beef. Bourdain embarked on his Close to the Bone tour in 2015, and he wasn't shy about throwing shade at other famous chefs. He took aim at a number of Food Network stars, and Guy Fieri got burned pretty hard. Bourdain mused, "I sort of feel in a heartfelt way for Guy. I wonder about him. He's 52 years old and still rolling around in the flame outfit. What does he do? How does Guy Fieri de-douche?" Fieri, who is actually still in his 40s at the time, had a few thoughts on the matter. He told GQ a few months later, "I don't like him making fun of people, and I don't like him talking shit, and he's never talked shit to my face. It's just, what are you doing? What is your instigation? You have nothing else to worry about than if I have bleached hair or not? I mean,
I said, how about I make you a knuckle sandwich, Dirty?
Bourdain defended himself, later telling People, "The day you can't tell jokes about Guy Fieri, comedy as we know it is dead." Rachel Ray is one of the brightest stars on the Food Network, but according to Bourdain, her show 30-Minute Meals sets the bar way too low. As he blogged in 2007, she's selling us satisfaction, the smug reassurance that mediocrity is quite enough. She's a friendly, familiar face who appears regularly on our screens to tell us that even your dumb, lazy ass can cook this. Bourdain took aim at Ray again later that year, accusing her of crossing the line with her promotion of junk food. As he told Outside Magazine, "It's like endorsing crack for kids. Juvenile diabetes has exploded. Half of Americans don't have necks. And she's up there saying, eat some Dunkin' Donuts. You look great in that swimsuit. Eat another donut. That's evil."
Don't hold it against me.
Reps for Ray responded in a statement via Page 6, "We respectfully disagree with Anthony's opinion. Anyone who knows Rachel and watches her on TV is aware she promotes balance and moderation, instead of living life in extremes." No one can deny that chef and restaurateur Wolfgang Puck has been an icon in the global food scene for decades. Not even Anthony Bourdain. He recognized Puck's influence, telling Playboy in 2011 that the Austrian chef didn't even need to be on TV to be famous. But according to Bourdain, Puck sold out when he put his name on everything. Bourdain said, "Listen, I'm not eating in his pizza restaurants. I think it's bullshit, and it breaks my heart to see him on QVC or whatever. But the fact is, he paid his dues. He's an important guy. If Wolfgang Puck wants to open crappy pizzerias in airports all over America, that's fine."
He overthinks he's such a good cook.
Despite the shade, there always remained a mutual respect. When Bourdain died, Puck praised him, telling The Week, "Enjoying a moment with great food is the most important part of life. Anthony did an amazing job of showcasing this." Bourdain once said that he was hesitant to trash a, quote, "nice old lady," but he threw a bunch of shade at celebrity chef Paula Deen anyway. He went to town on Deen and her shows, blogging in 2007, a recent Hawaii show was indistinguishable from an early John Waters film, and the food on a par with the last scene of Pink Flamingos. For those unfamiliar with Waters' cult hit, the ending involves dog poop. But Bourdain's criticism of Deen's Southern cuisine got a lot more personal over the years. As he told TV Guide in 2011, she's proud of the fact that her food is fucking bad for you. The worst, most dangerous person to America is clearly Paula Deen. I would think twice before telling an already obese nation that it's okay to eat food that is killing us. Plus, her food sucks. Deen responded by telling Page 6 that Bourdain should, quote, "get a life." But the reaction from her fans was swift. Bourdain told Rolling Stone, "I received a lot of scary mail and Facebook posts. It was the first time I've ever been frightened." In 2016, Bourdain chowed down in Vietnam with then-President Barack Obama. The two men were good friends, but Bourdain had nothing nice to say about Obama's successor. When asked if he would ever consider dining with Donald Trump, he told The Wrap, "I would give the same answer that I would have given 10 years ago, when he was just as loathsome." In what would become his final interview in 2018, Bourdain claimed he was just waiting for someone to give Trump a good dressing down. He said via Popula, "Somebody at the White House press briefing has to sacrifice their job and say, 'You utter piece of shit. Do you really expect us to swallow that steaming load of horse shit? How do you live with yourself? You should be ashamed. Give me one guy to throw themselves on a fire like that for that infinitely repeatable meme."
It's not personal, it's just business.
That's a mafia thing, but you know.
It's all right.
When news of Bourdain's death reached the White House, then President Trump offered his condolences to the family, saying in a statement, "I think it's very sad. I enjoyed his show. He was quite a character, I will say." Sandra Lee won a Daytime Emmy for her Food Network show Semi-Homemade in 2012, and by then, Bourdain had made his opinion on her cooking crystal clear. Lee's approach involves incorporating a lot of store-bought goods rather than fresh ingredients. It supposedly saves hours and money, but as the New York Times noted, a number of recipes from her cookbooks save neither thing. For his part, Bourdain once described Lee as pure evil. This frightening hellspawn of Kathie Lee and Betty Crocker seems on a mission to kill her fans one meal at a time.
We're gonna make fruit cocktail trifle.
Bourdain often referenced Lee's infamous Kwanzaa cake episode, which offended many and went viral for all the wrong reasons. As he told Eat Me Daily in 2009, "Watch that clip and tell me your eyeballs don't burst into flames. It's a war crime on television. You'll scream." But Lee didn't take Bourdain's comments to heart. When he died in 2018, she paid tribute to him, tweeting, "He was a gifted, smart, articulate man, and even though he could be incredibly critical, especially of me, somehow that was part of his charm." Bourdain brutally roasted Adam Richman, best known as the Down for Anything host of Man vs. Food. On the show, Richman traveled to different restaurants to attempt their supersized eating challenges, and Bourdain revealed that he saw people watching Richman's show during visits to the Middle East. He said during his 2015 tour, the show confirms their worst suspicions, that Americans are fat, lazy, slothful, wasteful. I know what he's thinking. America is a terrible place. I want to join ISIS. In 2012, Richman claimed that he and Bourdain were actually friends, but he criticized him for being too bitter at times. As he told Food Republic, "Lord knows he definitely has strong opinions about a lot of the shit I do." During a 2021 interview with Mashed, he admitted that some of Bourdain's comments cut deep. In 2011, Bourdain had joked with David Letterman that viewers tuned into Man vs. Food because they wanted to see Richman, quote, "choke on that burger and die." But according to Richman, when Bourdain was confronted about the comments, he actually apologized and offered some words of wisdom to Richman. Bourdain had nothing but good things to say about Gordon Ramsay's cooking, but he wasn't a fan of the chef's most famous show. Bourdain said at a 2008 event, "Gordon's actually a really sweet, nice guy. I hate Hell's Kitchen. I thought that show was so bad."
They got a brilliant mentor. Me.
But Bourdain would change his opinion on Ramsay's nice guy status in 2012, when it emerged that Ramsay had attempted to trademark Spotted Pig in the UK. It was already the name of an existing stateside restaurant developed by chef April Bloomfield. Bourdain tweeted that Gordon Ramsay would register the name Spotted Pig in London and screw April Bloomfield, who built the brand, over is shameful, pathetic. As Eater reported, 3 months after submitting the trademark application, Ramsay withdrew it. And according to 60 Minutes, the New York Spotted Pig closed for good in 2020. Upon Bourdain's passing in 2018, Ramsay tweeted, "Stunned and saddened by the loss of Anthony Bourdain. He brought the world into our homes and inspired so many people to explore cultures and cities through their food." While Bourdain heaped praise on other respected chefs in his 2010 book, Medium Raw, he wouldn't offer the same to one French culinary master. He wrote, "Alain Ducasse, on the other hand, is a villain, because he almost single-handedly brought down fine dining in America with his absurdly pretentious restaurant, Alain Ducasse New York. To use an egregiously overused expression, 80 NY was where fine dining jumped the shark. The eatery opened to much fanfare, but the prices turned people off. At the time, Ducasse said, "If people will not accept this price, we will go elsewhere." In 2007, his namesake eatery shuttered for good. As for the reason why, Bourdain wrote, "He rolled into New York with his bad attitude, ungracious proclamations of how exclusive his new place would be, how unwelcome New Yorkers might be if they were not already acquainted with himself via Monaco or Paris." Ducasse's flagship location would never shake its bad rep. According to the Robb Report, it became the restaurant New Yorkers loved to hate. Bourdain always had a love-hate relationship with Alice Waters, founder of the farm-to-table restaurant Chez Panisse. While he agreed with her on a lot of points, he found her condescending in her approach. He told NPR, "She's just so spectacularly tone-deaf and constantly saying the wrong thing that she's a polarizing figure for a cause that should be, in the best-case scenario, sort of a ground-up grassroots kind of a movement." There's an entire chapter about Waters in Medium Raw, where Bourdain calls her out for cooking an egg over a wood fire on 60 Minutes. He wrote, "I don't know about you, but burning up a couple of cords of firewood for a single fucking egg doesn't exactly send a message of sustainability." Bourdain also claimed that Waters doesn't seem to have ever gotten her hands dirty in the kitchen. He added, "After reading all the accounts, official and unofficial, of Alice's career and the history of Chez Panisse, I can't find a single supporting source to verify she was ever a chef." Waters paid tribute to Bourdain in 2018, telling ABC7 he introduced the chefs and validated that person's work, and he did this around the world. Bourdain and Emeril Lagasse were good friends at the end of Bourdain's life, but that wasn't always the case. Bourdain called the TV chef Ewok-like in his memoir Kitchen Confidential, referring to him as, quote, "fuzzy little Emeril." 7 years later, Bourdain admitted in a blog post that his opinion on Lagasse had softened, but added, "I still find him unwatchable. As much mileage as I've gotten over the years making fun of Emeril, he deserves a lot more respect than I've given him." By the time he wrote Medium Raw, Bourdain had come to understand Lagasse's business strategy a little better. But when the pair co-hosted the roast of Mario Batali, Bourdain wanted to know why Lagasse didn't just retire and live out his days enjoying his fortune. Bourdain recalled, "I asked him why he gave a fuck. He smiled tolerantly, then began listing all the people who'd helped him along the way, and who now relied on him, in one form or another, for their living." Lagasse paid tribute to Bourdain following his death, tweeting, "I'm shocked and extremely saddened by the tragic loss of such an inspiring man. Tony was a great soul, a mentor, a friend, a father, and an incredible chef."
Before social media wars of words, 90s celebs were meaner, more personal, and occasionally drew blood. Not all was fresh and fun behind the scenes of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. In 1993, with the show in its 4th season, Janet Hubert, the original actor behind the tough-loving Aunt Viv, was abruptly replaced by Daphne Maxwell Reid. In a radio interview quoted by the Atlanta Journal, the show's star Will Smith stated, "I can say straight up that Janet Hubert wanted the show to be the Aunt Viv of Bel-Air show." Hubert speculated that Smith had something to do with her getting fired. In 2013, she told Yahoo,
"He did some heinous, horrible things to me."
During the interview, she said the cast needed to have a reunion to squash all of the drama. But just 2 years earlier, she refused to attend a luncheon with her former cast members. When Alfonso Ribeiro posted a cast photo in 2017, she took to Facebook and said she had, quote, "no interest in seeing any of these people."
We never really together publicly talk about Janet.
Despite all that, Hubert attended the 2020 reunion special, where she changed her original story. She said she chose to part from the show because they offered her a bad business deal and claimed, "I was never fired. That misconception was always put out there." The two apologized to each other and seemed to have made peace. On January 6, 1994, ice skater Nancy Kerrigan was clubbed in the knee with a baton, forcing her to pull out of the U.S. Championships, where her rival Tonya Harding won gold. The assailant? A hitman named Shane Stant, hired by Harding's ex-husband Jeff Gillooly and her bodyguard, Sean Eckert. Before the assault, the Harding-Kerrigan rivalry was well known. In 1991, Harding bested Kerrigan when she received a perfect score with her historic triple axel.
She was the first American woman to land that jump in competition.
Harding was technically sound, but Kerrigan had the upper hand when it came to public image. Despite their differences and their shared desire to be the best, Kerrigan had believed their relationship was professionally polite. During the FBI investigation of the assault, Harding continued to practice, unexpectedly sharing a rink with Kerrigan, who was wearing the costume she'd had on when she was attacked. Kerrigan told press, "Humor is good. It's empowering." At the Winter Olympics on February 25, 1994, just 7 weeks after the attack, Harding placed 8th and Kerrigan won silver. Stant, Smith, Eckert, and Gillooly all went to jail.
Harding took a plea and was banned for life from the USFSA. French Vogue's first black cover girl, Naomi Campbell, had been walking runways, posing for magazines, and blazing new territory for black women in the world of modeling since her teens. But a new, young, beautiful black model soon came on the scene. By age 17, Tyra Banks was signed to elite model management and traveled to Paris, where she booked show after show. Banks was a huge fan of Campbell's, but the competition seemed to have Campbell more peeved than flattered. In a 2019 interview with the Wall Street Journal, Banks remembered, "I had a very painful early days in Paris. The woman that I was looking up to seemed like she just didn't want me to be there and was doing everything in her power to make me go away." According to New York Magazine, when the two were scheduled to walk for Chanel back in 1993, Campbell reportedly told Karl Lagerfeld, "It's either Banks or me." Ultimately, when Banks got her own talk show, she invited Campbell on to make amends. Biggie Smalls and Tupac Shakur were the faces of the East Coast-West Coast hip-hop rivalry. Notorious B.I.G. was a huge Tupac fan, and Pac returned the admiration. But in November 1994, Tupac was robbed and shot at Quad Recording Studios, while Smalls was recording for Bad Boy Records upstairs. And Pac was convinced Smalls was involved.
I had nothing to do with that. It just happened to be a coincidence that he was in the studio.
In December, while Pac was serving 18 months in prison, Smalls released the diss track, Who Shot Ya? Smalls was adamant that the track was written long before the shooting and had nothing to do with Tupac, but the timing of its release was awkward. In '95, Tupac joined Suge Knight's West Coast label Death Row Records, and East Coast's Bad Boy became their official enemy.
All these weak rappers, Nas, all these suckers, they battling off of East and West like this is a game. This ain't no game.
After he got out on bond, he released his own diss tracks, including Hit 'Em Up, where he threatened Smalls. To make matters worse, Pac was spotted with Smalls' estranged wife, singer Faith Evans, who he claimed to have slept with. And although Smalls denied any beef with his former friend, he never reached out to set the record straight. When Shakur was killed in '96, fans blamed the East Coast. But Smalls didn't want that. He said in an interview with BET,
"One man against one man made a whole West Coast hate a whole East Coast. I gotta be the one to flip it."
He never got the chance. Smalls was killed 6 months after Shakur. Although the Charmed sisters were good witches, off-screen, there was bad blood between them. 90210 alum Shannon Doherty was already known for being difficult to work with when she took the role of eldest sister, Prue, in 1998. Her 90210 co-stars, Jenny Garth and Tori Spelling, both had negative things to say about her. But it was Alyssa Milano who played the youngest sister, Phoebe, whom Doherty really feuded with.
So you'd rather have a tense reunion filled with boring chit-chat and unimportant small talk?
No, but otherwise we won't have anything to talk about.
The two butted heads enough that Doherty decided to leave Charmed in its 3rd season. In 2001, Doherty told Entertainment Tonight, "There was too much drama on the set and not enough passion for the work." Milano confirmed the two didn't get along. She told E! News, "There were times when I'd come in and say, 'Good morning, Shannon,' and she didn't say anything to me. And there were times when she'd come in and say, 'Good morning, Alyssa,' and I wouldn't say anything to her." In 2021, Milano took some responsibility for their feuding, sharing with Entertainment Tonight, "I think a lot of our struggle came from feeling that I was in competition rather than it being that sisterhood that the show was so much about. And I have some guilt about my part in that."
How is your relationship now?
I would say we are cordial.
Sounds like sisters, all right. Behind the scenes of the 1999 football film Any Given Sunday, there was a real brawl between co-stars LL Cool J and Jamie Foxx. The two played rivals on screen, but they took it off screen as well. Foxx addressed the feud in his stand-up set, "I Might Need Security."
What happened was, he thought we was really playing football.
Foxx went on to share that a physical altercation ensued between the two during a scripted argument.
And the next thing you know, he hauled off and hit me.
But according to LL Cool J, Foxx was the one who took the scene too seriously and instigated violence.
We were doing the scene, I was being aggressive when I was like, "Yo, but this is character to character."
In between takes, he claims that Foxx asked him to be less aggressive, which LL ignored.
Fox then punched him in the face, and Cool J proceeded to take Fox's helmet off and hit him back. Another actor in the film, Bill Bellamy, was on the scene that day and set the record straight on Facebook Live.
Jamie turns around and punches LL Cool J in the mouth. Boom!
And the Mama Said Knock You Out rapper proceeded to do just that. The championship fight between Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson was one of the most anticipated sports events of the 90s. The two had been battling without being in the same ring since the 80s, when Holyfield made the Olympic team the year Tyson failed to qualify. The fight for the heavyweight championship was finally set for November 9, 1996. Tyson had the odds in his favor, but Holyfield ended up winning by knockout, despite headbutting Tyson several times. A rematch was scheduled for June 28, 1997. That fight became one of the most infamous events in sports history. At the start of the third round, Tyson removed his mouthpiece and bit Holyfield's right ear, tearing off an inch of cartilage.
Oh my goodness, he's got a bloody right ear. Holyfield bit by a dirty Mike Tyson.
The fighters were separated and the fight continued until Tyson bit Holyfield's other ear and was immediately disqualified. In subsequent interviews and his book, Undisputed Truth, Tyson confessed, "I just wanted to kill him. Anybody watching could see that the headbutts were so overt. I was furious. I was an undisciplined soldier and I lost my composure." Despite the public upset and dramatic aftermath, the two are now on good terms. July 29, 1981 was a joyous occasion for millions all over the globe. Princess Diana and Prince Charles were getting married. But despite it being one of the most lavish and anticipated weddings of the century, there was nothing glamorous or romantic about the union.
Whatever in love means.
According to Diana's friend and astrologer, Penny Thornton, the couple knew their relationship was no fairy tale. In the documentary, The Diana Interview, Revenge of a Princess, Thornton revealed that, the night before the wedding, Charles told Diana that he didn't love her. Diana was deeply unhappy, so much so that she took to self-harming. In 1992, the couple separated. 2 years later, Charles declared his marriage to Diana loveless and admitted to being unfaithful. Raunchy phone calls between him and his lover Camilla Parker Bowles were released to the public. Diana reportedly referred to Camilla as the Rottweiler and believed Bowles to be the reason her marriage to Charles was so unhappy.
Well, there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded.
By 96, Charles and Diana's divorce became final. She would die tragically in a car accident a year later.
Sex tapes and stolen dancers? These celebrity fights leave scars too deep to ignore. In the early 2000s, at the height of low-rise jeans and tabloid drama, Hilary Duff and Lindsay Lohan engaged in a petty love triangle over Aaron Carter. It all started in 2003. After 2 years of dating Duff, Carter cheated on her with Lohan. Eventually, he broke things off with her long enough to focus on Duff's Lizzie McGuire movie premiere, but those two called it quits for good when he cheated on her again. Just for spite, Lohan and Duff began showing up to each other's movie premieres. Duff went to the Freaky Friday release, and Lohan retaliated by dazzling at the Cheaper by the Dozen premiere. Things only escalated from there. While Duff was working on a Cinderella story, Lohan called Duff's co-star Chad Michael Murray to talk trash and spread rumors. That same year, Lohan made fun of Duff in a Saturday Night Live skit. Duff was unimpressed, telling Access Hollywood, "I'm not here to talk bad about her like she talks bad about me all the time." Even Duff's then-boyfriend, Joel Madden, got involved, refusing to give Lohan's little brother an autograph until she publicly apologized. In 2007, it seemed like things finally started to cool down with Duff telling People magazine, "We are both adults, and whatever happened, happened when we were young. It's over." On March 10, 2003, shortly after the U.S. invasion of Iraq, the Chick singer Natalie Maines made a comment during a London show about then-President George W. Bush. Maines first said between songs, "Just so you know, we're on the good side with y'all. We do not want this war, this violence." Maines got a little more specific, later dishing out,
"We're ashamed of the President of the United States."
The crowd responded with cheers, but before long, radio stations all over the nation were banning and even destroying Chick's records. fellow country music star Toby Keith famously joined the chaos by performing in front of a large photo of Maines beside Saddam Hussein. Maines apologized to President Bush, but backlash against the band continued to build. Eventually, they dropped out of the public eye, but in 2020, after a 15-year hiatus, the band released Gaslighter. That same year, they announced they were changing their name from the Dixie Chicks to simply the Chicks. Katy Perry and Taylor Swift's fallout began when 3 of Perry's California Dreams Tour dancers were offered spots on Swift's Red Tour. Before Swift's tour ended, the same dancers left to join Perry on her Prismatic Tour, which Swift took as a direct attack. Telling Rolling Stone, Perry basically tried to sabotage an entire arena tour. She tried to hire a bunch of people out from under me. Shortly after, Perry cryptically tweeted, "Watch out for the Regina George in sheep's clothing." The beef lasted for years. In a 2017 carpool karaoke video, Perry told James Corden,
And I tried to talk to her about it, and she wouldn't speak to me.
The two pop sensations were finally able to mend their rift in 2018 when Perry sent Swift a literal olive branch. The two even appeared together in the video for Swift's song, You Need to Calm Down. Jay-Z and Kanye West first met in the 2000s to collaborate on This Can't Be Life. West was initially quite intimidated by Jay, but the two men quickly formed a friendship and mentorship. Things shifted when West married Kim Kardashian in 2014. The widely publicized event was notably missing 2 guests who were thought to be close to the groom, Jay-Z and his wife Beyoncé. Some speculate the snub had something to do with the infamous elevator fight between Jay and Beyoncé's sister, Solange, at the Met Gala some weeks before. In 2017, Jay-Z opened up to the podcast Rap Radar about the feud, saying, "We've gotten past bigger issues, but you brought my family into it. Now it's a problem." Despite the drama, it seems that by 2019, things had gotten better as the two were photographed together at Sean Combs' 50th birthday party. When Kylie Jenner stole Tyga from Blac Chyna, Chyna knew exactly how to get revenge. She began dating Jenner's brother, Rob Kardashian. At the time, Rob was living with his sister Khloe, who was quite vocal about her distaste for Chyna. When things started heating up between the couple, Khloe kicked Rob out, which led him to move in with Chyna. Rob later proposed with an impressive 7-carat diamond ring worth $325,000, and soon after, Chyna was pregnant. Trouble stuck when the Kardashian sisters planned to film the baby shower. Rob was completely against it, and neither him nor Chyna attended the shower. The couple broke up and got back together multiple times, and had a particularly nasty fight leading to a breakup right before Christmas of 2017. Rob then posted an NSFW dump of private posts of Chyna, prompting her to take legal action against him for violating revenge porn laws. She told ABC News,
"The moral of the story is like, he doesn't respect me, so if you can't respect me, you have to respect the law."
It seems the pair have mended fences and are quietly co-parenting their daughter Dream. In the mid-2000s, Lindsay Lohan and Paris Hilton were close friends and were seen shopping and socializing together often. Their falling out apparently dates back to 2006, when Lohan was linked to Hilton's ex, Greek shipping heir Stavros Niarchos III. Days after they were spotted together, Hilton laughed as her friend Brandon Davis trashed Lohan publicly, making offensive comments about her body and finances. Hilton's publicist tried some damage control by claiming that the words weren't hers, and that Hilton didn't necessarily agree with what Davis said. Lohan then responded with a snide comment about Hilton's sex tape, telling Elle, "Obviously she's very comfortable making videos." The two socialites fought on and off for years, but as of 2021, it appears they have reconciled. Hilton said on her podcast, "Things have happened, but I am an adult now. I just realized that a lot of that was just being immature." The two rap moguls started as friends, with Drake often citing Kanye as an inspiration in his early days. They collaborated on several projects together, including Find Your Love, Drake's breakout single from his 2010 album, Thank Me Later. While the men engaged in some friendly competition over the years, things took a hard left turn when Pusha T called out Drake on his 2018 single, Infrared. The track was produced by West and hinted that Drake's latest album was ghostwritten by Quentin Miller. Pusha T then dropped another diss track, The Story of Adidon, which accused Drake of being a deadbeat dad and forced the rapper to confirm the existence of a secret child. Drake told Rap Radar,
"All the details of his record are all just like fabricated, so just to make it more interesting. The story is actually not really that interesting."
West offered a half-baked apology on Twitter, but reignited the feud with his 2021 single Pure Souls. Drake responded on Trippie Redd's portrayal, leading West to leak his address. The rappers reconciled and got together for the free Larry Hoover benefit concert in December of 2021, with West revealing, "I believe this event will prove to people everywhere how much more we can accomplish when we lay our pride to the side and come together." 50 Cent and television producer Randall Emmett were longtime friends when the two fell out over actor Lala Kent and Emmett's failure to pay back a $1 million loan. Kent, who stars in The Row, dated Emmett on and off for several years after he helped her land her role in the film. In 2019, 50 Cent and the couple got into it on Instagram over the loan, with 50 Cent threatening physical violence. In a text conversation, 50 Cent wrote to Emmett, "You took my kindness for weakness. Now I'm going to show you what I've been trying not to do to you." The rapper then shared a series of memes mocking Emmett and Kent, all while counting down to the debt's due date of April 29th, adding, "Money Monday right around the corner. I'm going to bed early." Emmett eventually paid off the loan, ending their feud. Cardi B and Nicki Minaj were cordial until their media-fabricated feud turned real. Fans picked up on some animosity when Minaj supposedly liked an Instagram post shading Cardi B's rapping style. While the screenshot turned out to be photoshopped, the incident caused a media frenzy, pitting the two rappers against each other. Later that year, they both featured on the Migos track Motorsport, which only raised more speculation about a feud because it looked like Minaj had filmed her music video parts on different days than everyone else. A month later, Cardi B revealed that Minaj had changed her verse and implied she might have done so to one-up the newcomer. Minaj told Apple Music Beats 1, "The first interview Cardi did after Motorsport came out. It just really hurt me because she looked so aggravated and angry. I kind of felt ambushed." The quarrel came to a head on September 7th, 2018, when the two women had a physical altercation during New York Fashion Week. Cardi B lunged at Minaj and threw her shoe. She ultimately left the party with a large knot on her head, while Minaj left unscathed. A source told US Weekly, "Nicki really respects Cardi and will always root for the success of other female artists and MCs."
Tossing tables and throwing fists is par for the course in any reality show. But which moments went truly over the top? On The Real Housewives of Atlanta, to earn the coveted peach, you need to bring the drama. Kandi Burruss and Phaedra Parks always served up entertainment. But the friendship between the two ladies hit the point of no return during Season 9. After Parks felt Burruss took her ex-husband's side during their divorce, she retaliated by spreading rumors about her amongst the cast. Parks was able to convince Portia Williams that Burruss and her husband had planned to drug and sexually assault her. Despite denying she started the rumors, things escalated during the reunion, when she was exposed as the main source. An emotional Burruss confronted her and spoke about how those allegations hurt her feelings and tarnished her brand.
You should understand that drugging somebody while they're drinking and taking them home is rape. Y'all accuse me of being a f***ing rapist.
A remorseless Parks deflected all the blame.
I repeated it because I heard it. Something was brought to me, I repeated it.
Parks was later fired from the show, but the feud between the two ladies is still ongoing. There are rumors that Parks is set to return to the popular franchise, which Burruss is not too excited about. She recently told People that reuniting with Parks is something she doesn't want to do. When reminiscing on the greatest moments shown on The Challenge, Chris C.T. Tamburello and Adam King's feud tops the list. Their feud started on The Real World Paris, where they bumped heads frequently throughout the season. The tension between the two started when King spread rumors about Tamburello's relationship around the house. Their issues were never resolved.
The bottom line is, man, I don't like you, you don't like me. Let's leave it at that, bro.
On The Challenge, things between them only got worse. On Season 17, issues from Tamburello's personal life began to affect his behavior on the show. Months before filming, his brother was killed, and his long-term relationship with DM Brown fell apart. Rumors began spreading through the house that Tamburello hooked up with another contestant, which upset Brown. Tamburello once again felt like King was responsible. A drunk Tamburello confronted him, and soon enough, one of the biggest fights on the show erupted. He brutally attacked King and chased him around the house. Both Tamburello and King were sent home before the end of the first episode. The two enemies were later paired up on The Challenge Rivals, where they shockingly performed well together. They ended up losing right before the finals, and it's been speculated that King purposely performed terribly,
which he's denied. Exes don't always make good friends, but they can make great partners. On the challenge, Final Reckoning, Ashley Mitchell and Hunter Barfield were teammates. The exes definitely had unresolved issues from their brief relationship, which caused them to bicker constantly. However, the two managed to perform well together during the daily challenges and landed a spot in the final. The grueling final had one condition. Whichever partner performed the best would get to choose to keep the money for themselves or share their earnings with their partner. In a shocking moment, Mitchell dramatically revealed that she would be keeping the money for herself, leaving Barfield absolutely devastated. Her reasoning was that during the season, Barfield shamed her and threatened her family. Barfield denied these claims, but the camera doesn't lie. MTV aired a flashback of Barfield speaking to the men of the house after finding out Mitchell slept with another contestant.
Kyle, all I'm saying is this stupid now some more is for $1 million and I'm coming for a family.
In a 2018 interview with People, Mitchell explained that she didn't think twice about making that power move, but a part of her still had empathy for him, saying, "I felt really, really bad for him and his family that's gonna be watching. I didn't feel like he deserved that, but I feel like I deserved the $1 million." Housewives on Bravo throwing drinks on each other isn't new, but on Real Housewives of Potomac, the ladies threw drinks and fists during an epic trip to a winery. In Season 5, the blossoming friendship between Monique Samuels and Candace Dillard hit a rough patch that was hard to come back from. Samuels believed Dillard betrayed her by inviting her arch-nemesis, Charisse Jackson Jordan, to an anniversary party. After failing to smooth things over, a tense vibe between the two festered throughout the season. It all came to a head when Dillard confronted Samuels for her shady behavior during a girls' trip, and the two began arguing. Hair-pulling and glass-throwing soon followed, and Samuels even chased Dillard around the winery. As the season continued to film, the two ladies filed police reports on each other, both alleging they were victims of assault. The second-degree assault charges against both of them were later dismissed. Samuels later released a diss track titled Drag Queens. During the reunion, they struggled to make amends. Dillard blamed Samuels for leaking the story about the fight to the press and lying about who initiated it. Samuels denied talking to gossip blogs and admitted that she was triggered by Dillard's hand in her face. The explosive reunion was the last time fans got to see Samuels on Housewives, as she quit the show right after the reunion aired. The ladies of The Real Housewives of New Jersey know how to get under each other's skin. Danielle Staub and Margaret Josephs seemed to be thick as thieves in Season 9, when Staub asked her to be a bridesmaid in her wedding. Leading up to the wedding, the Josephs struggled with putting up with Staub being too much of a bridezilla. The feud between the two only got worse during a girls' trip to Cabo, when they began hurling personal insults at one another, which resulted in Josephs throwing wine at Staub. It wasn't the last time these ladies faced off either. The following season, Staub experienced a bit of deja vu. During an argument, Josephs once again poured a drink on her. Staub wasn't having it. She grabbed Joseph's belongings and destroyed them. Before making a dramatic exit with the help of Teresa Giudice, Staub grabbed Joseph's ponytail and gave it a Jersey-style tug. The feud between these two is still ongoing, and Staub has zero remorse. When asked if she regrets the hair pulling, she told Bravo,
I was backed into a corner and I was done.
So no regrets?
I'm done with her. Regrets? Hell no. My only regret is not doing it sooner.
In Mop Wives, the bad blood between Drita Davanzo and Karen Gravano made for amazing television. Davanzo and Gravano were allegedly childhood friends, but the source of their feud goes back to a man. Davanzo married Gravano's ex-boyfriend, Lee, and that was something the two could never seem to get past. According to Hollywood Life, Gravano believes that Davanzo violated girl code by doing that. Throughout every season of the show, the women couldn't be in the same room for more than 5 seconds without fists flying. In season 1, the two attempted to clear the air about the boyfriend situation, but it led to a nasty brawl on a rooftop. Both women accused each other of lying and sleeping with each other's boyfriends. The feud between the two included multiple arguments throughout other seasons, and one final fight during the last episode. When Davanzo walked in the room for the final episode, she didn't even say hello before lunging at Gravano. They remain at odds. When tuning in to The Real Housewives of Atlanta, you can always count on a shady argument between Portia Williams and Kenya Moore. Their long-running feud started in season 5, when Williams referred to Moore as Miss America. Moore, who is proudly the former Miss USA 1993, took great offense and never let it go. The Shade Fest continued on in season 6, as the two ladies took aim at each other's relationships. Moore accused Williams of cheating on her husband, and Williams accused Moore of having a fake relationship. During the season 6 reunion, their feud took a dramatic turn. Things quickly went off the rails as Moore pulled out a variety of props and pointed them in Williams' face. Williams didn't find the humor in it and got up and pulled Moore's hair. The two ladies tussled to the ground before being separated. Following the fight, Moore filed a police report and Williams was charged with assault. The reality star later apologized for her actions, explaining to Us Weekly, "I was pushed too far with the objects waved in my face, and my personal space was continuously violated, and I reacted in a way which I am not proud of." It took some years, but their relationship seemed to improve after becoming mothers around the same time. In 2019, Williams told Us Weekly, "Motherhood definitely gave us something in common. That is a new experience for both of us." Johnny Bananas is no stranger to being the villain on The Challenge, thanks in part to his feud with Sarah Rice, who betrayed him in a previous season. They were later paired up on The Challenge Rivals 3, and seemed to mend their friendship when they apologized to one another and dominated together. Since Johnny Bananas completed the checkpoints faster, he was tasked with a major decision. Does he share the prize money with Rice or keep the $275,000 for himself? In the shocking moment, he kept the money. On the Bill Simmons podcast, Bananas later claimed their new friendship wasn't what it looked like, saying, "People want to make it out like, oh, but you guys became such good friends." That was television. He went on to suggest that if the roles were reversed, Rice would have stolen the money from him. Rice has never forgiven him. She alleged that Bananas cheated during the final and producers covered it up. She explained on the Mike Lewis podcast,
"They caught him with Adderall, and that he beat me on a challenge where we had to stay up all night. The crew searched his jacket and found Adderall that he didn't have a prescription for and was taking the whole season to give him an edge."
Reza versus Mercedes. At the core of Shahs of Sunset is friendship and drama. Lifelong friends, Reza Farahan and Mercedes Javid appeared on the show and always had each other's back. However, in season 8, the two friends were at odds. After giving birth, Javid suffered life-threatening complications that kept her in the hospital. She noted that Farahan didn't visit her, which upset her. Farahan's relationship was under fire due to rumors that his husband was cheating on him, and he speculated that Javid was the source of the nasty rumors. During this time, the two avoided each other, but they soon came face-to-face at a pool party. The confrontation got brutal, with the two slinging nasty insults at each other. At one point, Farahan stood on a balcony and shouted her secrets in front of the entire party.
You have 10 abortions! Your uterus exploded because you have 10 abortions!
Farahan's vicious words came back to bite him when Javid's husband, Tommy Fate, showed up at his house. In an attempt to defend his wife, Fate destroyed property outside of Farahan's home, which resulted in Farahan filing a restraining order. The friendship between the two remained strained following that. Fate declared that even if Javid's friendship with Farahan got to a better place, he did not want Farahan around his child. However, at BravoCon in 2022, Javid revealed that they're all in a better place. The Real Housewives of New Jersey kicked off with a memorable debut season, filled with drama surrounding Danielle Staub. The ladies on the show had questions about her past after reading about her in the book Cop Without a Badge. Teresa Giudice in particular considered her shady and confronted her about it during an infamous dinner scene. As Staub attempted to explain, Giudice began shouting and flipping tables.
Prostitution! You are f***ing engaged 19 times!
Thus, their infamous feud was born. The feud between the two ladies spilled over into season 2, and during the reunion, they once again had a heated confrontation. When Staub brought up Giudice's nephew, she stormed over to her and shouted in her face. In a hilarious moment, host Andy Cohen attempted to restrain Giudice, who flung him off of her with ease. When Staub returned to the show during seasons 8 and 9, viewers were shocked that the two enemies were finally in a good place. In 2018, Staub told the Daily Mail, "We speak more than once a day. We're legitimately friends. It was something that was worth salvaging and has turned into the relationship it should have always been." However, the Jersey girls didn't keep the peace for long. While filming season 10, a source told Us Weekly, the ladies were at odds once again and unfollowed each other. Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie took over television with their hit show The Simple Life. But it wasn't long before things got icy between the two. It's been rumored that the main cause of their feud can be traced back to one shady moment. When Hilton got the coveted gig of hosting Saturday Night Live, Richie reportedly hosted a party. According to People, instead of screening the episode, Richie turned around and screened Hilton's infamous sex tape instead. Hilton told the outlet, "It's no big secret that Nicole and I are no longer friends. Nicole knows what she did, and that's all I'm ever going to say about it." At the time, Richie blamed their fallout on herself simply outgrowing Hilton and wanting to settle down. However, their feud wasn't good for business. The two still had a hit television show to film. To avoid filming with her new nemesis, Hilton attempted to get producers to replace Richie with her friend, Kimberly Stewart. In 2006, producers were forced to shift the format so the ladies would film separately. It's probably no surprise that Amber Portwood and Farrah Abraham would have problems with each other. In 2016, the two faced off during the Teen Mom OG reunion. Dr. Drew Pinsky confronted Abraham and her boyfriend about past comments they made about Portwood's fiancé. Abraham previously called him a pedophile for dating someone 20 years younger than him. When questioned about how hurtful the comment could be, Abraham brushed it off. It wasn't long before Portwood stormed the stage and confronted Abraham.
Just because somebody's 20 years older than me doesn't mean he's a pedophile.
Hi, Amber.
Shut your mouth.
Hi, Amber.
Shut your mouth. Do you
Amber.
understand me? I'm gonna stand up for my man.
Portwood's fiancé and Abraham's father even began tussling with one another. Chaos then erupted on stage, with production trying to restrain everyone from fighting one another. In 2017, Abraham sent a cease and desist letter to her Teen Mom co-star, according to E! News. Portwood alleged she never received it. In 2022, the two appeared on Teen Mom Family Reunion and had a much more peaceful chat about family life.